going.
Okay. We will call the October 25th, 2023 Global Metro Solid Waste Management District Board meeting to order at 5:33. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see people back live again. First order of business is approval of the minutes. Has all board members been able to look at, review the minutes? Are there any suggested changes, corrections, additions?
I'll move.
Mary Rose moves approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Deetra. We have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a voice vote to approve the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing no objections, the minutes for September 27th are approved. Next item on the budget, next item on the agenda is the budget report.
Budget is going as expected. You can see it in your packet, but I also have it up on the board. We are running behind on our citation and license fees and recycling fees just slightly. But that is to be expected at this time of year because license fees for that quarter takes a while to hit. So they should be coming into the system soon. So that would get our revenues back up probably higher than what it is anticipated. So revenues will fluctuate up and down. So don't be alarmed if it's a little bit low right now. We did get our carry forward. I think last month I told Bob had asked where that carry forward is. The books have closed on last fiscal year, so the carry forward this year is $3,294,000 that we carry forward from that last year into this year. Expenditures are running about normal for this time of year. In this past period, we had $44,000 of expenditures, totaling $305,000 for the fiscal year, which puts us actual ahead, or expenses, $227,000, not including the rollover. With the rollover, we're well into the black. Extended budget, and that is in your packet as well. I apologize for it being so small. The only expense over $5,000 was a previously approved expense of $5,022, and that is for the front load truck, which the district bought in exchange for the pop-up drop-offs, Metro government providing the pop-up drop-offs. So we're still paying on that, but that was our only expense over $5,000. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions? Okay, no questions. Thanks, Pete. Next item, correspondence to the board. I see we have none. We have no action items. New business.
First new business is something that we wanted to bring to you guys, the alkaline batteries and zinc batteries. What most people don't know is that these everyday batteries can be recycled, but they also can be landfilled. The material inside of them that was the worst was pulled out in 1996. So there was a transition to get a certain type of heavy metal out so that they can go into the landfill. So now alkalines in most states, except for one, can go into the landfill. For us, we do accept them at our household hazardous materials drop-off site. But what I wanted to bring up was the cost of doing these batteries for the small amount that we get in recovery is not really good. So every 23 batteries cost us $1.15. And if you extrapolate that out compared to how many we get, that equals up to about 30% of our household hazardous materials budget. which is a huge slice. So really, I guess the question was, do we want to continue to accept them? And I mean, yes, they can get recycled. It's at a premium. We can educate people not to bring them, but if they do bring them, we can recycle them. Or we just continue to do what we're doing. But we just kind of wanted to bring up this large expense for the household hazardous materials drop off because the cost of that contract is going way up. So I just wanted to get y'all's thoughts.
That's a real conundrum, because for years, you've encouraged people to recycle batteries. And how do you tell them, how do you educate them that it's not necessary? Relatively speaking, it's not necessary. I don't know if I have an immediate answer myself.
Well, I
You
think
kind of hate to say, we've been telling you to do this all these years, now don't do it, but it's a
Well,
significant.
but I think people can
chunk of
understand that
budget.
they've taken out the thing that was really bad that we wanted to recycle before. And now, it's not necessary anymore.
So one concern from an education standpoint is the confusion that it will cause some confusion because that is alkaline and zinc. Lithium batteries, the rechargeable kind, are ones that we definitely do not want to get into a garbage truck or the recycling system or into the landfill because they are sparking fires, which we don't need. By doing this, are we going to cause ourselves some confusion and people will start to throw more of the lithiums away?
I would.
Yeah.
I would. The industry is definitely really having issues with lithium batteries as far as transfer stations, landfills, and so forth. The NWRA Association is putting on a head-on education process. I would like to see our efforts put in regards to lithium batteries, making sure that, as you said, they don't get into recycling bins and so forth. That, I guess, means that the only place they can go is to our hazardous waste centers, and it is the top of the line in regards to issues for the industry itself.
So I'm worried about the confusion or the double standard of our message.
Karen?
If you don't mind, I want to say from an education standpoint that I already do have the phrase that alkaline batteries are environmentally safe for trash, but that they can be recycled for free if the has been. That's kind of like, it's on Recycle Coach and it's on our materials. So as far as confusion, there might already be confusion. But I just wanted to say that just because even when I'm speaking to a group, I typically say, you can put them in the trash, especially if you only have a couple from a remote or something every few years. It might not be worth the trip all the way to the has-been, but so it's already kind of out there that they could put it into the trash.
You know, we don't, also nickel metal hydride and, what's the other one? Cadmium? Nickel cadmium, yeah, cadmium. Those should still be recycled, correct?
Mm-hmm. And Batteries Plus is a store that will accept the ones that are more valuable for free, but the alkalines they'll take, but they usually charge you.
So do we say anything about lithium right now out on our website? So what do we say about lithium?
To recycle those, and that has been,
Recycle those.
yeah, and to keep, I mean, the batteries should always just be out of recycling, like household recycling, none of them should go into that. But yeah, rechargeable is usually, if we don't say lithium, we at least say rechargeable versus like your regular
Right.
household, so.
Yeah, I mean, I would second what Bob said, though, just about confusion. I appreciate the education effort, but I'm not sure how many people really know the difference between lithium or nickel batteries. It's, especially since all it takes is one or two being in a garbage truck or a recycling truck, even if people are trying to do the right thing. if the board does decide to say we want to stop spending money at, what was it, $360 or $460 a barrel to,
$460 for a 30
yeah,
gallon.
just to go through that expense to try to divert those batteries. Is there any thought to, the has-been is already at 7501 Great Land, it's right next to the landfill. Is there any possibility of just saying, okay, we'll continue to take them, but then rather than spending money to send them to a recycler, just sending them over to next door out of Loop? I mean, that seems like a.
That is a possibility, and it's a good point that if we don't change our message, we can still receive them, but we can landfill them. And that way, we're not gonna cause confusion any more than there already is. So that is a possibility if you guys wanna do it. If you're, unless you feel strongly, or people feel strongly that we should be recycling them, at the current cost that we're doing it.
I would want to change I wouldn't want people to think they're taking them to the has-been to be recycled, so I would still have to change a message that you can, they can be dropped off here. I mean,
Well, you can
it'd
put
be,
some signage that has been also.
Yeah.
Saying that they're not considered hazardous, and will not, and won't be
Right.
recycled. I think you make a good point. That is a way, at least the way I look at it, to avoid the whole issue of maybe sending the ones that should go to has-been, maybe sending those to the landfill because people get confused about what goes where if we continue to accept them at the has-been.
Well, I know just anecdotally, because we share an address, I've gotten manila envelopes full of batteries, I don't know how many times this year. People trying to mail lithium batteries to the has-been, and they just somehow end up in my inbox, the home company. It's like, all right, this is jingling, I'm just gonna. It's either anthrax or, or lithium.
Is there any other insight in terms of any other community what they're doing? Is there other options available out there that?
It is all over the place. Most municipalities do not accept them in their household hazardous materials drop-off. More up in the northeast do, south no, west yes. And even the buyback, like the call to recycle, which is a stewardship program by the battery manufacturers, they don't want them, but they take them. They want the ones that are rechargeable. So it's all over the place, Carl. I wish I could tell you.
Do you need the board to make a decision tonight, or
No.
what's the board feel like? Does anybody, we need any more information? Do you have enough to?
I would be curious to if there's any other options, especially like if there's any like new entrepreneurial elements out there that where someone has found an opportunity for the batteries because there's funding mechanisms. So maybe there's like if there was an entrepreneurial offer and you tie that with a funding mechanism, and that could be an opportunity for new business for someone to generate an opportunity. So I'm just curious if there's, usually people are pretty resourceful and creative. If they see an opportunity like this, then maybe there's a possibility that they could create an opportunity and we could create a unique option. So.
Well, I will say this, we've been contacted by a group from the University of Louisville that is interested in battery recycling, in partnering with Metro Government. I've met with them one time, and it's more of a reverse logistics type process, and they're not real sure what it's gonna look like, but they are planning on including alkaline batteries, almost like a postal box that you would take them and it would process them right there. So I'm not sure where that's gonna go, but you're right. If they can perfect this may be something in how to handle batteries all across the country, which I think is great.
So I met with a group today from the University of Louisville, and they have a new grant writer who's looking for unique opportunities like this. So maybe we'll do a partnership with us and the university. There could be dollars spent to work with us and them to create such an opportunity, right? So maybe that could be something really unique that could be done, because it's an issue all across the country, so maybe we could lead in that case versus just saying we got a problem. Maybe we could take a offensive position, say, hey, let's see if we can get funding so we can lead in terms of this area.
I meet with them, I think, in a couple of weeks. And if we could just kind of hold this, maybe until the next meeting, maybe I can have a little bit more information.
Okay, old business.
Okay, so, finally, the Aiken Road Recycling Center is open. It has been a long time coming. This is the site, this is what it looks like. The contractor there, Smith Creek, thinks it looks awesome. We haven't necessarily gotten much feedback because we've only been open for probably less than a week. So, we are totally excited about the site, and we have gotten it into any newsletter, the Works Week, any place that we can do it. I know that we had a lot of Metro Council people chomping at the bit to get it into their newsletter, so the word is getting out there as fast as it can get out. I'm not sure if we're emptying every day at this point. We are emptying every day. So we do have 10 8-yard dumpsters there, and we will empty it every day of the year. So we're not real sure, but we might end up having to empty this one twice a day. But we will see. Probably around Christmas we will.
And this was our busiest.
Yes, it replaced the Burton Lane site, which was, it's not that far away. I think the Burton Lane site had a lot of businesses because it's sitting in a commercial district, and that was why it was so busy. I mean, we had 4 30-yard roll-offs, which is a lot, every day that we pulled from that site. So we're curious how busy this one will be. And we're curious how much it'll pull away from Whips Mill, which has just been inundated. So a lot of people wanted this, and I'm glad it's up. So thank you guys. You guys are paying for the lease at the site. This is the only place that we pay a lease. But thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it.
Any questions or comments on that?
Yeah, me too.
Number 2?
I wanted to do an update on the large item equipment, and I won't go into everything about this, but I did want to bring it up. I know it's been of a concern, and I just want to kind of give people a little bit of where we're at. So it started in November 1st of 22 on a slow rollout that went all the way around the city. It took us almost 6 months to do, 5 months to get everything done. So on March 5, we were finally fully deployed. Since March 5, we've done over 13,000 appointments. Before that, I mean, in total, we've done almost 16,000 appointments, and we're not even a year into it. So it has been used. It's been used hard. And I'll give you a little bit more information, but I just wanted to remind you people how it works. So people can use an app, they can call, but they make an appointment and they get a pending email. So as soon as they make their appointment, they get a pop-up that says, your day is next Monday, yada, yada, for these items. It'll be reviewed. The next thing is they get a confirmation email 2 days before, tells them that they can set their items out. The crews will collect it. After they collect it and they come back, it's entered in the system and they get a complete email, says that it's done, or it says that we didn't find anything, or it says that you have too many items out, and so on. And we get that, anything that, well, I do want to say, anybody that's found where they're not found gets a second visit later on that day, because we typically are going to get there fairly early, and not everybody has it out. Sometimes we'll go back and we'll find where people send it out after us. So we do have a second crew check it. And then we created a feedback system to where on that complete email, they send us a star rating, and they can make comments. And sometimes we get a 1, and that's not a good thing. And what we have done, since it's a new program, we dive deep into those. We contact them and we find out what the situation was. And we've learned some things, and I'll get to those in just a minute. Who's utilizing the system? The top users live in a corridor, kind of like down Bardstown Road out to the edge of the Urban Services District. The lowest is going to be in between the Shawnee Expressway, Algonquin, Ohio River Expressway between 15th. So I did want to show you guys some data to visualize that. So, okay, this is every service request that we've received this year. This is the first year. This is, every one of these is where there has been a large item appointment. So you can see it's pretty much covers everywhere where there are properties, since a lot of this is parks, some, airport stuff. In here, you can see that when I say this is the least, this is that corridor that I was talking about. The most is this corridor right here. So we can zoom that down into a lower level, and to get down to this. So you can click on each one of these, and like this one has 4 service requests for that property. But I guess what I'm trying to say is some properties have used it 15, 16 times. And I can tell you that when we go out and we show somebody how to use it, because they had a violation, they start to use it. We've seen that in the data. So I just wanted to share that with you so you can visualize it.
Is it a resident that would use it 15 or 16 times? Also,
Yes.
a commercial establishment.
Well, what do you think? I honestly, lots of times we believe that it's where there's somebody doing scrapping and they are using it, but that's honestly a good thing, because where you have somebody that's doing scrapping, there's a circle of dumping around them. So we don't mind, we'll take it, better than being. Education past efforts. We visited every neighborhood association that we could. We urged Metro Council to put it in newsletters. Didn't always get there, but we urged them and continue to urge them. We did a rolling announcement letter and a card, and I think that we have some of those cards that we can put in the back there. But it shows people really quick, 1, 2, 3, this is how you make your appointment. Very simple. We gave these cards that you can put on your refrigerator to codes and regs. Whenever they're out, because they touch more properties than our solid waste officers do. And they can give those people to help them correct any kind of violation that they have. We've placed information in libraries. We've recently started going into churches. We figured that may be one of the best ways to get it out in that area. So I'm not sure where we're at with that, but we'll continue to push that. Our future is to continue to do a lot of stuff that we're doing, but we also want to do a future mailing. We are working really hard we're working really hard to make one change, which includes text messaging. We've run into a lot of issues with cyber security. We haven't been able to overcome that hurdle yet. It's been several months. Our first quote was a lot of money, so we're going to get it in there because we really need it. So what are people saying on the feedback that we talked about? This is a word board. I don't know how word boards work, but it's, Karen,
Do you want me to tell
Karen,
you?
throw it out there.
So you type in all the words that have been descriptions within our surveys, which not everyone puts a description in. It's optional to put comments, but any descriptive words that have been put into those comments, you just type them in, and the most frequent words will show up bigger in the graphic, so you can see the biggest two are great and easy. And you can see the smallest word means that one person said that. And there's lots of words that only one person said. So there's a few negative ones like hard or
Failure.
Pain.
failure. Yeah, we had an utter failure. But
Complicated.
yeah.
But one of the-
We wanted to show that really more people love it than hate it.
And I will say, a lot of the ones that I was telling you that they give us a negative review, we fix it. We fix it right away.
Yeah.
So we're on top of it. So I did kind of want to give some statistics. 80% of the appointments that are made are picked up the way the system is supposed to be, which is a huge success. 6% are canceled before we get there, which we appreciate. There's a feedback system there. And 14% have nothing out when we get there. So we wonder, what is up with that 14%? So we started asking. Items are scavenged before we get there. It's gone, which that's been one of the criticisms, is people can't scavenge anymore. But we know that it's still happening. They didn't get it set out on time, and I think that the text messaging is going to help us in that regard. The wrong address, or the items are set out in a different location than the address where they made the appointment. People set their garbage sometimes in common areas or even down 4 houses from where they live. They make the appointment, is what we found out. And they think that we know that their garbage is set down the street. Our garbage crews are totally different than our junk crews. They have no idea. So we go there, we don't see anything, and we put nothing found. So we're working on some things. We're trying to maybe making some tweaks to it to help us better explain where we are supposed to pick this up. It gets really hard in condominium complexes because you don't know where in the condominium complex that they set their stuff. So we're struggling with some of that. And one other thing that I wanted to point out, after our crews are done with their appointments, and crews that are not doing appointments, they are assigned an area to survey, meaning that they're going down the alley, back up, just like they did in the old system, and they will get what they find. Every time that they find something that could have been, didn't have an appointment, that person gets a letter, another education letter saying, hey, you picked it up this time, but please make an appointment next time. So we're sending a lot of those out, which is great. So the system is new. The system is still new. We are not even a year in. We're coming up close to a year when we started to roll it out. It's going to take 2 years for us to change this. We've done something one way for the past 35 years, and people are used to that. And some people are resistant to the new system. They want to just throw everything out there and we come pick it up. This is a much more efficient, and I can go into how much more efficient that it has been for us. You know, we've conducted storm debris sites 4 times this year. And in the old system, we would have been inundated, we would have been overtime, and because we've done this, it has made us so much more flexible in delivering the services. So it's been really good for us. We're another year or two out before we can really say how this program's performing, but all indications are that it's doing well. But we know where our shortcomings are, and we know that that's education, and we know where we need to hit that. And so we need people's help to get the word out. It's, word of mouth is big. So the system itself works really well. So anybody have any ideas about it, see us, and we will, we can get people cards, we can give them anything to help us get that word out. Any questions about it?
I have a question. Is there any way to measure like the success of the program in terms of what we collected before, you know, when we went out 3 times a year versus, I mean, I know it hadn't been enough time yet,
Well,
but do you have an idea of what we collected before?
we're collecting less. And the reason is that when we analyze the waste from our old system, almost 3/4 of it should never have been put out in that system. So we're trying to push people to get it into the garbage carts. And I think that that is also one of the things that we have to push is that in the old system, instead of setting it beside something, you get it into the cart. So carts are another issue that we have to work on. Worried about people having enough carts. And there's a whole nother ballgame about those. But getting people to use the services as they are provided, because now they get junk pickup every week if they call. They get recycling every other week. They get yard waste every week, and they get garbage every week. That accounts for most everything out there. I will say that there's been an uptick in illegal dumping. And part of that is that landfill costs have increased. I had a call from one of the operators over off of Ralph Avenue, and he told me, he said, there's a lot of people that use this site that when I raise my prices, they're not gonna come here, they're gonna go dump it. And it wasn't but a week after that, we started getting a lot more reports of illegal dumping of construction and demolition debris. It is the nature of what we're doing. The other thing that has hurt us this year is tree debris. Due to so many storms, there has been a lot of tree debris that has been done. Even though we open up sites for free, that seems to be what people do. So we're struggling with that, and we can continue to work on it. This program will not solve all of the problems that we have. It won't. It's just part of the answer, in my opinion. So, any other questions? Yes.
How many letters are we sending out in instances of inappropriate set out? And what are we seeing in the way of comparisons from this year to last year around calls to 311 for inappropriate set out?
Inappropriate set out, if you, I hate the way someone tracks it, but if you look at solid waste violations, depending upon where you are, they can be down. In other areas that they can be up. It just depends. Illegal dumping has been up. In comparison to last year, like I said, there's been an uptick in the illegal dumping. The calls to Metro Call, and this is the way I read the data, calls to Metro Call has went down about 5%. The use of the app, because we pushed the app so hard, has went up about 5%. And on that app, there's also a button for illegal dumping. And people report illegal dumping more because they're using an app. And they see it now, and they can report things much more easily. What I will say is that a lot of the reports of illegal dumping that we are getting are not illegal dumping. It's somebody reports a box that's set up against the garage up on somebody's property is reported as illegal dumping. Somebody has set out their appointment, it gets reported as illegal dumping. So I would say the vast majority of illegal dumpings are not really illegal dumping. So I it's mixed.
Okay,
wish
I
could
would be
answer.
interested to know in the future, and by the way, this is really tremendous, and I think you guys have done an excellent job in trying to assess and learn lessons and evolve. I do think it would be helpful to know and to be able to measure, it, as you said, it takes multiple years from one year to the next. How many more letters are going out? Are we making an improvement, not just in the way of assessment of people scheduling things, but then fewer instances of, being clear with like not illegal dumping, but inappropriate setup where somebody just has a mattress, they don't know what to do with, so they just put it out. So I think that would be interesting, to see what, and then my second question is around, cost savings associated with staff time. Are we seeing that realized yet?
We are using less people than we did. Like I said, if we had been in the old system when we've had all these storms, we would have been really struggling. But overtime wise, we're holding our own. Really, our only overtime has been the storms and the pop-up drop-offs. That's really been it. I believe that we are much more efficient in this system than the old system. But that's gonna take more time for us to, for sure. Any other questions?
You have one?
Yes, sir.
Well, this board is a board that is supposed to apply to all the old Jefferson County and Metro Louisville. And talking about these programs and talking about where people are going out and speaking to associations and not further the, part of this drop of the pickup call for appointments and stuff. Can you go over a little bit about what is strictly in the urban services district first? What is being available throughout Metro?
This is obviously the urban services district. If you throw in some other things, you can kind of see that when it comes to enforcement, it's pretty much everywhere. The waste district doesn't put any funding into the large item appointment system. It's all used through urban services district tax income. So the waste district, while an overseer of solid waste throughout all of Jefferson County, it doesn't really, it's not necessarily part of the decision-making of the Department of Public Works and delivery of services in the urban services district. So large item sits over here. The waste district is definitely interested in it because it has to do with dumping, it has to do with litter, it has to do with a lot of different things. So that's why we report it. And we try to have the district help us get word out because it only helps the entire county, in my mind. Did that answer your question?
It's close, and I'll talk with you. a couple more minutes.
Sure.
Any more questions from board members, comments? Education and outreach, anti-litter.
Okay, last meeting, we had a lot of discussion of that, we had field trip come in and do a presentation, and we kind of keep coming back to this measurement thing. And how are we gonna measure and know what success is? So, we went back and we had some meetings. We reached out, number one, to the city of Indianapolis. They had a behavioral thing with litter. So we went to Indy and we had a pretty good discussion with them. And they did some studies about signage at bus stops and whether or not that it reduced pieces of litter over time. And while they saw a slight decrease in litter at bus stops, it wasn't great. Where they said they started to focus was the services. So how to access your services, because the solid waste industry in Jefferson County is built out. It's a good system. Everybody has access to pretty much waste services. We got to get people to use them better. And I think that was what they found was when you get people to focus on their services better, you get a reduction in litter and cleanliness issues. Field trip, I'm gonna get into those in just a minute. We also met with REACH Evaluation, and we had a great discussion with them about how we can measure, and they had some ideas, and maybe there's an opportunity in the future if we want to do some in-depth into the neighborhood, walking surveys and stuff. So that's something that we can consider. I think that the cost of it is pretty high. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but that's one opportunity. But our conversation kept coming back to how are we going to make an impact, and it kept coming back to we have to get people to use our services, and that's probably where we need to focus our energy and our outreach right now. They're out there. We're providing them. There's litter baskets. There's all these things to do. But we get into that. And this is some of the stuff from Field Trip. This was some research from the Institute of Applied Research, and it talks about interventions and the cost of getting one piece of litter picked up, or one piece of litter. So when you look at a beverage container deposit, on average, they looked at 26 states, $4.24 to get one piece of litter in a bottle bill, which I found amazing. Paid litter pickup, $1.29 for a piece of litter. A comprehensive program, I won't get into that. Adopt a Highway, 18 cents per piece of litter. And paid targeted advertising, 2 cents per piece of litter. So education kind of wins out. But the thing about it is, based on spending of 30 to 50 cents per capita per person, we're not even close to that. And the next thing that I would want to point out is that these things have to take place over a longer period of time. So these were some of the recommendations. Continue to invest in our advertising and behavior change. We just have to continue to run campaigns, awareness and services, and we just need to keep pounding people with it for years. We need to try to fund to see these quantifiable results in either specific neighborhoods or citywide. Invest in bold, creative messaging, which we're trying to do. Drive education and prevention across all aspects of programming and outreach. It needs to be built into everything that we do, is how to properly dispose of waste. And measurement, it's measure everything. It might not work out to be the best measurement, but if you're measuring it, you might be surprised at what you come up with. So the last page in the pamphlet was all the different measurement techniques that we have out there. We will try to do as many of those as we can. And one thing that I did go and look at is there's the LiDAR, the vehicle that drives down the road, and it picks up certain things and it'll count it and look at it. We try to use it for like signage, potholes, and it works pretty decent for some of those things, but it's just not good enough for litter yet. And litter is hard to pick up on LiDAR, so it's not quite there. I wish that we could do an assessments. I think that we're probably going to have to do the smaller segments of assessments, similar to what we did with Brightside. We had 260 half-mile segments throughout the entire community, 10 in each Metro Council district, and use that as a measure. So we're going to continue to work on those, but we will probably come back to you guys and ask, let's go ahead and try to fund another education campaign like we saw at the last meeting. I liked it. And also I have reached out to TARC, and Carl gave me another name today at TARC, so that maybe we can partner up. If you guys know any other large businesses or groups that are willing to partner with us on this, I think that's what we need, is to continue to expand that. And, you know, any organization that's willing to carry the word is an organization that we want to be meeting with. So, that's what we found out, and, I don't know if you guys have any more feedback to that. If we come back to you guys again next month and kind of reinforce the litter campaign that's been proposed. And then we probably will make a budget ask to do so.
Okay, so I met with Tarek last week and about some other stuff, but specifically about this, so I think I just need to put you in contact with the person I talked to specifically about this, and they were saying like, yeah, they're definitely interested in meeting with some talk. I had another question, a thought from some other things, and any consideration on utilizing like technology like AI in terms of anything that we're doing, or like the machine learning. So like I saw this example of, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen like those little vacuum cleaners that go around your house and they just know where to move and go whatever. And they were talking, and I saw like this group experimenting with like a pickup system like that. So they could have like cans with certain things, you put your cans on, they would recognize, read it, and know it goes pick it up and do whatever. Any thought about I know those technologies are out there, but any pilots, any testers, things like that?
I don't know of any of those, but I might retire and try to come up with something. Sounds like a great business.
We reject that. Reject your retirement.
There you go. That's like.
No, I think it's a great idea, and I think AI is just like expanding massively. And in areas that we don't even know what it's gonna do, I like that idea. I will be looking to see if there's anything like that out there.
So there's, I can maybe get you guys some information too, and I know that they do a lot, and I think they would probably be really interested in hearing from us, like at the big electronics conventions and shows where they do a lot of things like that. They will kind of demo opportunities, but also again, I think that's opportunities, and this isn't that far out, but maybe there's another opportunity to get funding to work with the university, maybe to do something like that, because the ability to do that is already there. Now, it hasn't been applied like this, but so maybe there could be a small test area or something like that could be done, and again, we could lead.
See what we can do.
One thing, you might be able to comment on this, but it appears to me that looking at some of this presentation that he had is one important thing is for us to keep hammering at this. If we do a campaign and sit back and say, hey, that kind of worked, but then we don't do anything for 6 months, we may lose anything we gained from that campaign. That we should, I mean, you're gonna be coming back to us with maybe more frequent asks for education, but it would seem to me that we need to keep pounding into this and not do it and sit back and do it again later.
So industry standards says it takes 8 impressions before your first consideration. So basically, you might see something 8 times, and you go, oh, like, yeah, I've been seeing that, what is that? That's just your first consideration. So you can imagine if you just put something up once or twice, you just almost wasted your money. So what it suggests, to your point, is that the longevity, the consistency of seeing it brings more validity and consideration that maybe I should consider, maybe I should do it, maybe there's something to it, so yeah.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Any additional questions? Yeah.
I would look if I make a comment or a question. Two things, just because I was in New York last week and on the side of their solid waste truck had their no littering messages that I just wanted to share with this group because I thought they would appreciate it. And in true New York City style, they were very direct. One of them said, see someone littering, tell them where to stick it. Don't dump on, don't litter in, don't mess with New York, and don't litter. And it was just very, I can email the picture of Pete if he wants to send it to you guys.
Yeah.
And so I thought, it felt like direct, but also true to just New York. And I think those kinds of messages work the best when you're trying to tell someone not to do something. And I guess I just have a question. I don't comment much, but I worked on that appointment by pickup when I was in city council and loved that program and proud of it. If you're thinking about focusing on advertising services, there's sort of a transition from the last conversation to this one, I hope you'll consider a campaign to promote that service in particular. And I was just looking on the city's 311 page, and I see where you can large item pickup. You know, people don't know junk pickup on demand. Just some different language. People know what they're talking about. So I hope you'll consider that new service along with the other things for your education campaigns.
Anybody that has any input, suggestions, send it to us. We're open to any and all suggestions. The cleanliness issue is a very tough one, and one that every city in America and even counties are struggling with. So if we can find Carl's AI robot that picks up litter, it'll be a pretty popular thing. So I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. Rumbler for the hours.
There you go.
Advisory committee report.
Contracts committee, what I will report is that we haven't, is that okay? if I go ahead?
Sorry, I just started doing a thing on the screen. I thought it was weird.
Oh, look at it. How do I stop that?
Say
AI.
You reference AI one time.
It's a setup.
Hello? All right. The contracts committee, we have not made any track on bringing anything to the 109 board, but I will say that we are working to bring together another committee for construction and demolition debris. And I told you this at the last meeting, we have not gotten much further in that. I have talked with a few people. We may be taking a trip up to another state that has drywall recycling to see their setup. Not sure when that's going to take place, but this company really is talking with our current vendor, Smith Creek, and really trying to do that to hopefully bring that gypsum and start to use it in agriculture is where we think that it can fit for this community. So that's one area that we're looking at. The other area, we're hoping to bring in Public Works, the Asphalt Association again. I've talked with our director, and to bring everybody together and start really trying to find a way to get shingles back into asphalt again. We're just not there yet. Otherwise, we've kind of moved on with that committee to the, I guess it's the study to see cost of services and level of services in areas of the county that are uncontracted and unincorporated. So those areas, so we're just in the beginning phases of that discussion and really nothing to report at this time. Any questions about the the contracts committee? Oh, I did have one other thing. I think that we're evaluating the bids for the capture rate study, and I think that we'll have something soon on that. Bruce, I'm sorry.
That's what I was going to bring up, Pete, and I do want to say it's a pleasure to see everyone again this evening. I'm not a fan of online meetings, but the capture rate study, the two proposals are far different. It's unfortunate that we didn't have competitive proposals, but I believe we do have one good proposal. I'm very proud with the work that they've done on the contract committee, and I'm very happy with what Sandra has been able to accomplish with the education committee. So thank you. And are you going to give an overview for Sandra's committee or subcommittee, or do you want to give that, Sandra?
Karen?
Well, I don't think we have too much more of an update from the last month's meeting.
No, actually, what we've been working on for a long time is we have talked now for years about making sure that the information that we give out to people is consistent countywide. That's very difficult because there are all kinds of different services, there are all kinds of ways of performing those services. But we're very close to being able to take a look. We've looked at the different things that are important in recycling in the different areas, and we're down to a very small number of incompatibilities. So we're on the verge of something big.
I will add to that we are actually part of that change. And I believe the clamshells soon will be approved. Because of AI and the implementation of AI in optical sorters and material recovery facilities. Believe it or not, AI helps us spot polypropylene coming down the line. And it can actually, I don't know how. AI scares me just as much as it's a benefit. But it's an amazing technology, and it does things that we could never do before.
So just side note real quickly too is that, you know, the AI is the old news, the current is the ML, which is the machine learning. So if you think about it in the context of AI being the brain, ML is actually the body, and now that they're marrying them together, so that's where everything is now. So that's why, so they're looking at smart cans. So you can put things in the can and they can read, and the machines can scan and know about what's in the can, whose house, what's going, the weight of the can, and all things like that. So those type of things are being considered. But I think that we could be out in front of that with, you know, we have like the speed school here, which is like, you know, a great engineering school. And I just think that there's opportunity for us to get dollars to support the things that we're doing. And so I would love for us to try to see about taking advantage of that, doing tests and models, and I think it'd be advantageous for our community, and because I think everybody would be interested in it as well. I think it'd be advantageous for this group as well as the community.
Chairman Schindler, do you feel that as a county board, it would be welcomed by the state for some of the recycling dollars that they award annually to pursue something along Carl's thought process with involving AI and our efforts to provide a cleaner city?
I think it certainly wouldn't hurt.
I think it's very
They've got a certain amount of
progressive.
dollars, and they've got to figure
Yes.
out how it goes to all the counties. With counties being not anywhere near as sophisticated as Jefferson County or Fayette or some of the larger country counties. But I don't think at all it would hurt to approach them and say, hey,
I think a lot of times we're looked at as, we don't need it, you know, we're self-supportive. But if we're groundbreaking technology, maybe that would trigger the movement to award something to Jefferson County to work with the University of Louisville and Speed Engineering School to come up with a technology that would absolutely help statewide.
well, and there's three large population centers, Louisville, Lexington, and Northern Kentucky.
Right.
And when you consider the amount of population relative to the whole state that's in these three areas, and I would think it would be attractive to pursue something like that, because it could very easily be transferred to two other large areas of the state, which cover a lot more population.
So I don't mind doing a little homework and providing you with some insight, some of the things that's going on, and we can discuss and see where and how we want to go from there.
Sure. The recycling grant package comes out in the spring of each year. Our state is a little bit different than Indiana. I know that you do it in Indiana. It's pretty difficult to competitive because they're trying to set up other counties' recycling systems where they have very little to go on. So it would be competitive. If we take a big chunk, that means that they can't help all those other counties, which is, we want to expand recycling outside of the large metropolitan areas, and there's a lot of interest in doing so. And that's why we supported the recycling organization. But that hasn't gotten off the ground yet. I'm not even sure where it's at yet, but something to follow up on. But yeah, I like the idea, and if we can come up with some kind of an idea, a proposal, we'll see.
Work out. I'll present something to you guys.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Staff report?
Yeah, this past Saturday we had a pop-up drop-off event at Shawnee Park. This was our lowest attended event. We had 182 vehicles come through. And in comparison, our other ones are usually 400 to 500, and the most is 900, but that's like way too much. So in this material categories, these are all the things that people can bring to our pop-up events. And so you can see how many people brought each category there. If you remember last month, I shared that we recently added water step shoe drop-off to those events. And we have them at our staffed recycling drop-off now as of this week, thanks to Mike, and also in our office. So, so just another, might as well. People are dropping off stuff, so why not offer to be able to drop off shoes? So we'll get more info out about that. And then this is the chart that I add to every month. We do typically nine events per year, and we'll have one more next month, November 18th at Shelby campus. But so that way you can kind of see a comparison of how much material is brought. This first number is participants, and I realized actually earlier today that I didn't put all the locations there. Only Sun Valley, for some reason I remembered to type the location. But it shows the pounds of each type of material and then the diversion rate there. So right now as a whole, we're at about, I think, 45% diversion rate for all the events, which is more than the past 2 years. So hopefully with Shelby campus, it'll just go up maybe a little bit. And that's kind of, one of our goals for this program is to consistently increase diversion. So a lot of that came with education. We could see it progressing because people realized how the events are set up, and if they bring all their material into the different categories, it can be dropped off easier. Metal doesn't get mixed in with bulky waste if they know that we have a scrap metal dumpster. So overall, these events have gone really well. Pete, I wanted to share about our Recycle Right program.
Sure.
A long time ago, you all approved us to hire 4 part-time people to do that, so kind of, in quotes, call it OOPS tag program to help people recycle right. So we finally, first we got our vehicle, which was a holdup, and we finally have one person on staff and that has already begun training, and then November 6th we'll have a second person. It's been offered to a third, but I haven't heard if he's accepted yet. But we're really excited because we really need the 2 so that they can go out as a team. And we've been working with our GIS department for having a digital survey that has all the addresses and can break down in the areas. So we'll be implementing that program throughout our city service area, and I've also reached out to our private haulers. I know I've spoken with Andy about it. It looks like we'll hopefully work with more than just waste management, but be able to get some of the contracted areas so that we can actually partner in education for any route. It doesn't have to be urban services district.
And remind us what these folks do.
Yep, so they'll inspect the recycling carts, kind of open it up. On our tag, we have 6 contaminants that are kind of the one thing we all agree on are the things that shouldn't go to the recycling facility, such as hazardous waste or plastic shopping bags that tangle, things like that. So they'll
be able to leave a tag. So it's not necessarily face-to-face interaction unless someone happens to come out and talk to them, but leaving that tag on the cart. And then in our case, some cities are really hardcore and maybe don't collect at all. So we really only have the yellow. The yellow tag, they're still gonna get their recycling collected, but they'll get that feedback, like, oops, maybe next time don't put your shopping bags in there, they can go back to the store.
Can you bring in some of these tags so we can see what they look like?
Yeah, for sure. And then a red tag, we reserve those mostly if someone's completely misusing the cart and it's all trash, or in some cases, Andy mentioned that yard waste might be an issue in some of his areas, just kind of misusing it, things that you definitely don't want to be taken to the recycling facility, and then the crew can see red tag, don't collect that. But hopefully we'll get this going, and not only will people get more education about recycling and feedback, but also it just helps promote recycling in general and get people excited about doing good with it, and improve.
Yeah, I think a positive thing on this note is that Louisville, in general, is doing probably much better than many cities when it comes to contamination. Our contamination rates are less than 10%, and even lower, whereas I know some locations have upwards of 25% contamination. So there are some really good things that we're doing. But this program showed over time to really improve the quality of our recycling, which better recycling is easier to sort, it brings better value, and it helps overall recycling. So I think it's a great program. I'm really excited. Sorry it's taken us so long, COVID, and then trying to hire part-time people. You have to have the right person in there, but we're getting closer, which is great.
Announcements?
Can you do those? I'm happy to try.
Okay, yeah, the 109 board meeting for November will be on the 22nd. Education Subcommittee meeting will be Tuesday, November 7th at 4 o'clock. Contract Subcommittee, Tuesday, November the 7th at 3 o'clock. And the full advisory committee meeting Wednesday, November 15th at 4:30. Anything else? Any other announcements?
Are you guys having to monitor the home that's being out in Hillview? Are you all having to monitor, accept, do anything with all of that that's going on out there?
At this point, we, as far as solid waste enforcement, we do not. It's in the hazardous realm, obviously,
Yeah.
which generally is going to fall into a specialized category, which is why the federal EPA
So
is
they're
on
doing
that
that.
site. So I know it's being monitored. I know that I've been out there. I know that they're doing a really good job. I'm glad they're not going to, from a firefighter point of view, I couldn't understand how they was going to burn it. But I also know that sometimes you don't have a choice. I didn't go in, thank goodness, but it's a tough situation.
Pete, if I may, I'm gonna give a shout out to Waste Management and Andy, because my understanding is they are taking some of the debris in collaboration with EPA.
Good. Thanks, guys.
It's very helpful.
You gonna do the last item?
Yes. So we have some people that's going to roll off of the board, and it'll be their last. This will be their last board meeting. I want to tell you, solid waste is extremely important. If you drive down the street and you just look at the vehicles, you always see a solid waste vehicle out there. It touches everybody's lives every week, every day. So it's an extremely important position. This board is really important. Solid waste is really important. And these people sit on this board for no money because they want to serve the community. and I think it's rare today, as evidenced by trying to find people to do it. So I really want to tell you guys how much I appreciate it. Tonight, it's going to be Mary Rose and Bob Lee, Susan Hart that will be here tonight, unfortunately. And then Carl and Deidre were renewed. And I think all this goes before the Metro Council tomorrow. So we wanted to present some proclamations from the mayor. And for Bob Lee, and this is just about the board, Bob has served since back in the 90s. So, to all whom these presents shall come, greetings. Know ye that the city of Louisville honors Robert Lee, who for over 6 years faithfully served and represented the citizens of Louisville as waste industry director of the Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government Waste Management District 109. During this time, Robert worked to further the mission of the district by creating an awareness and commitment to waste reduction, reuse, recycling, and to minimize the adverse effects on public health, safety, and environment. On behalf of Louisville Jefferson County Metro Government Waste District and the citizens of Louisville, we thank Bob for his willingness to give his time. His contributions have made a difference to the lives of the people of our community. So, and
If we can get better
okay, I can read the whole thing again, but
That's okay.
you want me to?
No.
Okay, so this is for Mary Rose, who is the Jefferson County League of Cities representative. Mary Rose has been great to work with. Bob has been great to work with. And I hope that they're not gonna fade away to where they're not around, because we would miss them, and they have contributed so much to the Waste District and the community. So, Mary Rose, thank you so much. And that is it. We have some refreshments in the back if anybody wants to partake. Of course, we need a motion to adjourn before we do.
Motion to adjourn.
Well,
It seems like it should be the last act of Mary Rose.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna thank everybody who serves on this board. It's been a wonderful experience. You know, you hear about people who are bureaucrats and they don't really care, they blah, 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 they just, Anyway, my experience with people in the solid waste of Louisville, Pete is our director, they care about the community, they do this with thought and with really good intentions and with the best interest of the community at heart, and I appreciate that so much from the staff and from the board. I think that this board has come forward so much since we had our 6 years ago when we were having trouble communicating, having trouble giving input and getting input. And I think that these people on this board right now have done a lot, and the staff has done a lot, and I just want to say how much I appreciate that. And I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. We are adjourned at 6:46. Thank you all.
You second that, Bob.
You're a model.